7-goal thriller. Ends at the Allianz Stadium or Arena these days versus Bayern Munich. We thought we had Harry Kane wrapped up, but again, we go like this and we go like this and we're up like this. It's a bit like the robot, you know. But we've got a special guest today. We've got two special guests as usual. We've got Dino up in the right-hand side and we've got our good mate Yoni down into the bottom here. How you been, boys? After that, we've got two games to discuss. Brighton and now the Champions League.
You know, you go for it, mate. I'm
really all right. Yeah, I'm good, mate. Like, you know, it's not too bad. I think you're getting mixed up with the Sydney Stadium called Allianz Stadium there, Adam.
Yeah, Allianz Stadium like that.
Yeah,
as
I know
usual.
it's a brand stadium and looks good, but the Wanderers play at the Combat Stadium, mate.
I think calling it a thriller is putting it very kindly, because at no point did United actually look like they were in that game.
Yeah, mate, I know.
I thought you said the first 15 minutes we looked in it.
That's true. We're the first 15 minutes. We went from like conceding in the first half all the time to being good for 15 minutes.
You know, look, I shouldn't be smiling this much because, honest to God, you know, we're watching that game. And actually, like at the start of the game, Palestri had a good chance at the start. I just thought he needed to get there a bit quicker. He did. He said that a couple of times now, but, you know, it was good to see the young lad get on for the first start. Let's have a look at the lineup for the Bayern game. We had there was a couple of changes from the Brighton game, we should say. So we had Onana, Lindelof, Martinez, Bruno Fernandes as captain, Rashford, Højlund, Reguilon, did I say Ericsson, Casemiro, Delot. Good to see Palestri get a start. We've all been calling for it. I'm not even going to attempt to say the bench, but let's just say a bit about the bench where we had 3 players on that bench or 4 players on that bench that have never, ever started a game for Manchester United. So, you know, our bench is looking very dry at the moment. I'm happy the young ones are on there because I'm a big fan of Gore, Hannibal, Foot, especially Forson as well. You know, and we all know about Garnacho. But, you know, the depth in a Champions League game, especially against Bayern, we definitely need more than that, don't we, boys?
I mean, you can see they brought on Koeman at some point, didn't they? And the best we could do is Garnacho, who's great, but Koeman has experience. You know, he's won leagues. He's won a Champions League as well. So it's a bit of it's a shame. We have so many injuries. You know, I think 9 injured players, and only one of them I'm happy about. So,
yeah.
Well, we've got a better one, you know. Scott McTominay came on, they brought Thomas Muller on, so...
my God, yeah, McSauce.
You know, like...
And 6 minutes into it, he didn't want to run.
I don't think he was wearing boots because he kept slipping over every time, so... Getting back to the bench and that, though, obviously, you know, we've got a lot of injuries and stuff like that, and you can only bring the players in that were registered with the UEFA competition, so that's why we had, like, 3 goalkeepers on the bench and stuff like that, you know. Maybe, you know, Adam, you bring in the goalkeeper and you're the goalkeeper coach here. So what do you want to see against Burnley? Do you want to see Onana there or do you want to see a change?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Like we're copping goals left, right and centre, but you can't just... Look, as much as I give Onana stick, and I do believe that...
Should I be recording this?
Look, you got to look at your defence first as well, and the midfield and everything like that. You know, as a goalkeeper and as, you know, been around goalkeeping training for a long time, you got to worry about the 10 players in front of you first. But in saying that, the thing that worries me about Onana is I've spoken about it before, is his agility. And I don't believe he's got that spring in his step. I just don't believe that. And you can see it. He falls so heavy. And today was a perfect example. And in saying that, he does get to the ball. He does dive past the ball. So I don't know. And they can say it's a confidence thing because it is big with goalkeepers. But he's literally dived past that ball. He's done it in the last few games as well. He actually gets his hand above the ball. So I don't know whether it's a judgment thing for him or what. But, yeah, even in preseason was the same. I called it early to Dean on this pod about him diving past the ball and his agility. And on our last pod or the pod before that, I said he's like a plank at work. I'm on the building site. When you go and drop a plank, it's just bang. It just doesn't move. He has not got the agility to move. And, you know, okay, he did make a couple of good saves late in the game, but mate, that error it's not a good one. But then again,
it's not.
No, go, Yoni. Go.
It's not like De Gea hasn't made errors last season. And you know me, I love De Gea. All right.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, my favorite player by far at Man United. But he has made mistakes similar, very similar to that last season. But you could see what you're saying in regards to the spring and things like that. You can actually really see that because the Brighton game, the third goal, the one he got a hand to, I'm convinced that De Gea would have saved that because he would have actually gotten more than just a fingertip to it. He would have got the entire palm to it as well. It's difficult at the moment. I don't know what kind of excuse you can give him because he hasn't performed well. Who was it against? Nottingham Forest, the first goal where he drops himself down before they even take a shot. That's inexcusable. That's not a defense error. It's not a midfield error. That's him actually going down for some reason. But at the same time, the amount of shots we're getting against him, it's actually
well, that's 14 goals. Well. 14 goals in 5 games.
Yeah.
Is,
how many? I'd be curious to see how many of those.
That's not all down to him either. Look, don't take it. It's not all down to him. But we've got a midfield that's so fucking weak at the moment. It's ridiculous. But
I can think of at least 4 goals that have actually come from the wide attack, cut back to the midfielder who we haven't tracked, and he just takes a shot. 2 of them against Arsenal. There was 2 of them against Brighton, and then today as well. So,
well, the Sane goal was on the right hand side, and mind you, I think what's his name's been playing well. What's his name? The new fella,
Reguilon. I thought he was our best player today.
I think he's been playing well. Last 2 games, I think he's been good. But that's determination. You can see Sane wanted to get on goal and get a shot off. We're going to be just as determined to block that shot or make the tackle or anything like that. So in Erik ten Hag's defense in his press conference, he does bring up a really good point there. We've got to be just as hungry to stop that shot and, and not create that opportunity for Onana to make that mistake. So, look, as much as I want to sit here and just hound Onana, you can't do that. You just can't. So, what are your thoughts, Dino?
Yeah, well, just before I came on here, I watched the highlights and that again of them. And all 3 goals you could say were midfielders not tracking their player back. And, yes, obviously Onana made a crucial error and you just saw everyone's head drop down on that. But that first goal, I think it was, he was out on the right and then, he did a 1-2 and you have Bruno and Eriksen just standing there watching it. Or could actually have been Bruno and Casemiro, I'm not sure. But,
no, it was Eriksen.
But they were just there watching, these are world-class players. They know what a 1-2 is, pass receive. And they're just standing there watching it. And, of course, most keepers should be stopping that goal, but everyone's got an error in them. Strikers miss goals all the time. It's not as crucial as if a goalkeeper makes an error. So, there's stuff like that. And, I'll put it in terms of Australian supporters and that. Onana's the front rower. He's a big boy. So his agility isn't going to be as good as David De Gea's and all that. So, but then people say his ability to play out from the back and all that is the difference. So, there's pros and cons to every player out there. It's, it's like Palestri. I really enjoyed watching Palestri play today. And, I don't want to see him missing for the next 10 games. I want him to start again against Burnley, start the next match. And, if Garnacho was in the squad and, hungry for the team, wouldn't he be putting his hand up saying, I'll play on the right? If I was a young player, I'd just be wanting to play in that starting 11. So, not this, I only play on the left-hand side or, I only play down the middle. You play where the manager wants you to play. And, to me, I think either Garnacho or Rashford should be playing on the right and then you could have the other person on the left, in my opinion.
What's really interesting about what you just said as well is I think it's, number one, actually a great time for a youngster to want to do that because the team isn't performing. So if you come in and you're like a bright light, you really do shine quite a bit. And so I definitely agree with you in regards to that. And then
Well, look at Garnacho. Like he was a shining light last year.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, he wasn't great every match or every minute of the match, but he created chances. And even when he came on today, like Munich's weakest point of their whole side was their right defender. And every time we went past, even with Rashford, like every time we went past him, he went past him easy. And the last, say, like 10 minutes, I think we got about 3 fouls from him with Garnacho and Rashford. So, that might be looked at, in the second leg, who knows? But, I think the players are there. At the moment, I think it's a confidence thing. And, you talk about the midfielders, defenders, attackers, whatever. They don't seem to be working together. They seem to be working as 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, 3 attackers or whatnot. And they're not all working together. And, as much as I love Martinez, you can't tell me he's the same player as what he was before the World Cup.
Mate, touching on Martinez.
I don't want to speak ill of Martinez because I love his passion and all that. But how many yellow cards is it this season? And I don't think any of them were actually for, like proper like challenges. They were just stupid shit like today.
Yeah, there was a couple of times in the game today where I saw Martinez just rush out of the line, but rush out of the defensive line, and he was going well past into the midfield. And
is that with the ball or without?
No, without the ball. No, without the ball.
Problem.
Yeah, without the ball. So it's opening up Lindelof in next to him and stuff like that, and
Lindelof doesn't read the game like Varane does. Maybe that's kind of like one of the situations we had. So
yeah, look, I just
honestly,
feel he's trying to make up for the midfield as well. Like he's trying our Casemiro's being caught out, so he's actually having to drop back into that midfield quickly to try and make a tackle, which he's not making the tackle anymore because I think he's like Dean saying about the yellow cards he's getting. And I think it was even on the second goal, the cutback. You had Martinez. Delot's just been ripped. Martinez gets caught over where Delot is. And if you have a look at where Martinez is, Lindelof's in behind him.
Yeah, they're just marking no one.
It's bullshit. Lindelof's just there on the right-hand side of him. And then I think coming back inside was Reguilon. And, mate, they're all marking no one. They're on a 6-yard box, the 2 or 3 of them. And then the cutback's on, and Onana's stranded. You're not going to blame him for that. Like, it's just, you're just picking your spot and putting it in the goal.
I really wonder if the whole Martinez thing going forward and then leaving space, I really do wonder though if that's like a tactical thing that Ten Hag is after, or if it's Martinez. Because the thing is, before he came to United, Martinez was actually also known for being like good as like a makeshift CDM as well. So he does know that role. But I think he works better in that role when we have the ball because he actually has the pass to open up a defense.
I agree. In the midfield, in the attack, sorry, I agree,
But yeah,
but as a defense, you're breaking a line, and you can't do that.
Yeah. And at the moment, as you said, with Casemiro actually not performing as you want, with the midfielders kind of not having the cohesion we're looking for, and we don't have really a defense because of all the injuries, it's not the right time to kind of give that a go, I feel.
Yeah.
But you also obviously Casemiro has pointed out because he isn't as good as what he was last year, but he also, our midfield has no legs. And Casemiro's strength is not his legs, Eriksen, his strength is not his legs. Even Bruno has an engine on him, but you wouldn't say Bruno was the quickest player. So, I'm really intrigued to see when Amrabat comes back and makes a mount and see how Casemiro does go in that role because, he's got players around, maybe not with the same football knowledge as him, but, the legs to do it. And he can sort of coach him into what he wants, because obviously, with Dire Straits, he's getting forward and he's scoring 2 goals. That's great. But you're only doing that when you're 2-3-0 down. So, like I've been harsh with Casemiro this year because he isn't the same player, but I think also, that midfield is a bit shot at the moment. And, it's not, what happens at your workplace eventually catches up with you, so, we can have a football team, a great football team, all the best players, but all the shit show off the pitch, it affects you. And, you can't say it doesn't affect the team. And you can just tell by the mentality of when we go 1 goal down, everyone's head drops. You know what I mean? And that's everything thrown at them. Like,
do you think a lot of our players overread the play? I just think a lot of our players overread the actual attack. You know what I mean? Just like that second goal where they're trying to predict where the ball's going to go, but they're not actually worried about. In some ways, it's ball watching. You know what I mean?
I don't know, because sometimes I feel like they're almost like, especially when the cutback happens, I just feel like they look like headless chicken. Like they really kind of don't know what to do. I feel like,
but that's where that ball watching comes into play, and that's what I mean. Like on that second goal where you have 3 players stranded because basically they were just on the 6-yard box. They're ball watching. Like you got Delo there. Okay, as much as he got beat, and Martinez has made the run to go and make the tackle. So why Lindelof is down that deep and why Reguilon's that deep is, I don't know why. But then you got, Casemiro's supposed to be the 6, and Casemiro and Ericsson. Well, what's Ericsson playing as an 8, I suppose? And
you can see though, like who's the first player to come off every match?
Yeah, Ericsson, 100%. Yeah.
So obviously he is not the number one midfield, and we have a shitload of injuries. Kobe Mainu will probably play ahead of Ericsson when it comes down to being fit. But that challenge that Dello did, if that's Wan-Bissaka, the ball's out. He was very weak.
Yeah.
Number one in Europe. So
for an international player, that was a very weak challenge.
Yeah.
I think like all these little errors weren't there last year, and then last year we had a bit of luck with things going our way, and that's why we maybe look better than what we actually were. If you know what I mean, like. And let's be honest, like Marcus Rashford, ever since he's come into the top side, how many coaches has he actually had that actually coached and managed him tactically and, in depth as a footballer? Because to me, Louis van Gaal
was missing with Ole for sure.
But even Mourinho, like, I know Mourinho's won a lot, but that was a long time ago. And I think he came to Manchester United thinking, it's just going to happen. As where these players were down on confidence, they just won the FA Cup and we sacked the manager. That's, to me, it's just ridiculous. So, and then Mourinho comes in with all his silly stuff and he's the center of attention where, how many players did Mourinho actually improve?
Yeah, you make a great point there, Dean. I've never ever thought of that. How many of these players have actually been trained?
How
many? You make a great point. Yeah. I see Rashford now, like, and you know how much I love Rashford, right?
Yeah.
You make a great point about he hasn't. I don't want to say he hasn't improved because I love him, but you're right. He makes the same runs all the time. Makes the same runs. He's okay. Do you call it an assist for Højlund today? Because Højlund really snuck that in. It's an assist, right? But at least it's happened.
Last game against Brighton, I sat here and said, Rashford's got to get his head up. He's got to get used to playing.
Which he did today.
Yeah. Which he did today. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when those 3, or whoever the third player is, who knows these days, start playing with each other. Like, you look at City's front 3, they play every game together. Mourinho at Chelsea, they played every game together. You look at all the great sides in the past decade, their front 3 play every match.
I actually think he might go with a diamond once everyone is fit. Like, and then you just have Rashford and Højlund up front. Because then you would just have Casemiro, you'd have Mount on probably the right side of the midfield, you'd have Amrabat on the left side of the midfield, and Bruno on top. And then because Mount and Amrabat will run a lot, and we've seen Amrabat is very quick. He's caught up to Mbappe in the World Cup. So I think he'll potentially go with that, and then it'll develop.
I hope so, because the diamond ain't working at the moment. Fuck, you saw that.
I don't think he'll go.
But he kind of made it sound like he wants the 2 of them to get a connection.
It leaves the wings too exposed at the moment.
Yeah, but because we don't have the players. Again, everyone's injured, and with Ericsson, he can't run. Casemiro at the moment can't run. That's like, even if we had 3, if we had 3 up front, 3 in the middle, you still have the same situations because they can't run. It doesn't really matter. And there's no point. McTominay, is technically shit. He really is technically shit. He runs, it's nice, but today he didn't even run. 6 minutes into the game, he doesn't track his runner. So
I honestly think he'll play Mason Mount on the right when he comes back.
As a right winger.
Yeah.
I hope not, because I'd rather, if he does that, he chucks Pellistri there. But I know he's very good there.
But you also, Palestri's not going to play every minute of the games, because you can't just throw a kid that hasn't played matches for probably 2-3 years now. He's just thrown him into Munich play a full match, so you got to ease his way.
Yeah, but he's an international in Uruguay. That's the thing. He should have actually been giving him chances before now. The problem is that he hasn't. But I see what you mean, obviously.
But how many games does he play for Uruguay every year? Like that's 90 minutes, every 3 months, or And I think he'll have Mount there because he doesn't trust the defense at the moment. So he'll have him track
I understand
back
that
as sort of like a man marking even system, and he'll rely on our left side because for as long as I can remember, our left side's always been more dominant than our right side line. And I think part of the Onana plays the long ball for Rashford. He's got Højlund there now and stuff like that. And I think you'll just see like a different tactic once everyone's fit. But, in hindsight, when is everyone always fit? So, there's things to be worked on. Like, don't get me wrong.
If we do 3 up front and Mount goes top right, like I wouldn't mind it if you have Højlund, you have Rashford, you have Mount, and then the 2 subs are Garnacho and Pellistri, depending on the game you put them.
And when defenders are tired, you bring them on.
Yeah, and Pellistri is quite like him and Garnacho are very different as well because Pellistri can also he's a really good winger, but he's also really good coming in. He actually, to me, obviously not the same level, nothing like that, but he actually plays very similar to the way Messi played when he was younger. Like
he sort of runs around in circles,
I'd like to see it happen. Can I say you mentioned Onana and his long balls? That sounds terrible, but Onana at the
it's a perfect quote for the perfect pod.
Yeah. The one thing I actually haven't seen the last couple of games, I feel like even though we pass him the ball back, I actually think is not even going for the pass that much for the passes that I expected him to go for. And I don't know if it's just that we don't have enough running happening in the middle / in the attacking third. Like it's been pretty pedestrian from him, especially today, I felt. But
I think it was against Forest, he had too many touches, you know what I mean? We would sort of beat the press and then we'll go back to Onana's where you look at the top sides, once they beat that press, they're gone. They're shooting it.
Onana is now getting caught in 2 minds to how deep he's supposed to be.
I think so. That's what I'm saying.
You can tell easy. And that was predictable. When he got chipped in pre-season, it was always going to happen. He would have got spoken to by Ten Hag for sure. And now, when they turn to pass back, he's fucking back nearly on his D, the 18-yard. And that's happened on probably 3, 4, 5 occasions now. And he
probably doesn't trust his defense either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, look how many, he had Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire there a few weeks. He's had that many defenders playing in front of him in 5 matches? We really miss Wan-Bissaka because I don't care what people say about going forward. He's not meant to. He's our best defender, one-on-one.
He's actually been really good going forward recently. Over the last 6 months, I'd say he's actually been really good as well.
So, you can have Luke Shaw, Reguilon, they can all go forward, whatever. But Wan-Bissaka, is our best one-on-one defender, and you miss him and stuff like that. And especially when you're playing against top sides. Let's be honest, Munich's won the league the last 10 years, have made the last 3 years quarterfinals of Champions League. They've won Champions League recently, and they're a top side. And to put 3 past them in Munich, it's a positive in my eyes.
I'm more worried about the Brighton game than I am about the Munich game, personally,
Burnley.
The Brighton, that was more disappointing to me than the Bayern Munich game.
I just think you fucked up formation in that game.
In the Brighton game?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we know. I mean, we didn't do a pot about it, but we did speak about it privately, and we all thought the
Adam had too many other appointments on for that. Sorry, everyone.
Sorry. Look, positives out of the game. Casemiro got 2 goals. Højlund looked good again, didn't he? Look, I really can't wait. And we're speaking a bit offline. For mine, I think United's just, and I'll talk about the 1%ers. That handball, for me, it's not a handball. We've had situations in the Premier League where Garnacho's taken a shot, hands up. There was no penalty for that. Was that against Arsenal? That handball? Or was that?
Yeah.
Tottenham, isn't it? The Romero one?
Tottenham. Yeah, that was Tottenham. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Just little things like that is just becoming really consistent. That's
where Ten
now.
Hag talks about the luck, even though it did hit his hand, or the offside, the ball just scrolling out. Yes, it's a fine margin and it is
Yeah.
out, but it's unlucky that it got to that point. Like it could have been literally like 2 centimeters closer, and it's fine. So,
But you got to
honestly
think
think
about
Eriksen
also.
was just too tired and lazy, in my opinion. Like the
Yeah,
way he defended that was like, and I have an issue with why is our midfielder
eight.
marking, marking their centre back, who is a big goal threat. Like Upamecano, however you say his name, is a goal threat. Like why is Eriksen marking him
in that position?
Like I don't get it.
Yeah. But you got to look at it. You got to look at the play before that, don't you? The ball turnover. Because again,
that was Eriksen.
Dean and I were talking about the ball turnover through the game. And again, Dean made a quote, Jesus, I wish we could keep the ball. And I went, well, both teams are losing the ball. And, but.
What was my reply to that?
Dean, I agree with you, Dean. You got to look at your own team. And the ball turnover again is costing us big time. Like, freak's sake, man, slow yourself down. Complete a pass. Stop rushing passes. And that's what's happening. Players are thinking there's someone there, but there isn't. You know, we're all so keen to go to smash forward and try and get a goal because the players, we know for a fact this team can't play under pressure. So they're building pressure on themselves and then turning over the ball because, you know, they're that much in a rush to pass a ball instead of completing a pass. So it's, you know, it's.
Well, I think that just comes down to team like sort of connection, you know what I mean? And as I said earlier, like it doesn't look like there is a team connection at the moment. Like there's sort of banks of individuals and stuff like that. But I want to give a special mention to like Martial came on and played the game of his life this morning. Like he actually moved and beat some players. Like
I did hear that. I
was actually really impressed with Martial this morning. Like I don't know where it came from. Like I don't know if it's the German beer he's been at Oktoberfest or what it was.
Maybe he just didn't like the booing from the
week before.
Game.
Yeah.
Oh well, you know, anything to But I was actually impressed with what he did. To be fair, like, and that's why we brought him like 8 years ago because he showed that glimpses of talent. And it's just ever since he cheated on his miss, it's just not the same.
Look, we're not going to go into
without wingers and and women problems?
Yeah. Well, what I want to touch on is the midfield because we do talk about the midfield a fair bit and talking about that ball turnover. Do you think the midfield's not coming? I don't know whether it's a tactical thing or what. Do you think the midfield is not coming to look for the ball enough? Because when the wingers have got the ball, you know what I mean? I like to see whether our six is coming for the ball to help our winger out or our 4 or our 8 is looking for it inside or the 10's coming back, dropping back in to look for the ball to play a 1-2 down the line or something like that. I don't know.
I think Eriksen and Casemiro both try to get the ball. Like I can see them making angles to try to get the ball from one another or from the defense or whatever. McSauce never does it. Like I'm not going to even bother. Like he disappears. But I think the problem is from when either Eriksen or Casemiro get the ball, we're not thinking about controlling. We're thinking about creating something. And because of that, we're losing the ball. And we're losing it like, you know, in the center defensive mid kind of position of the team. And that's why it's really bad for us. We lose the ball and the other team's like already controlling the game and they're attacking well and all that kind of stuff. And then... But
sorry, I think it comes down to fitness as well. Like, you know, you make errors.
We had the worst preseason for us. The preseason for us was a joke. Like we played too many games. We traveled too much after having 60+ games last season. Like
but we got Snapdragon as a new sponsorship. That's what they do.
I would love to see. I would love to see United just stay home for 1 year. I really would. I'd just love to see them home, rest up.
It's not going to happen.
I know it's not going to happen. But even don't travel to Australia or don't travel to America. Yeah. Just travel through Europe a little bit. Like it's not that Europe's not
even
far.
Asia. Just Asia would be okay because that's a lot less than what
we
they've
see
been
United
doing.
hop on trains all the time to go into Europe and stuff like that. So, you know, things like that.
I reckon they should go back to Astana.
What to make us look good?
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like people say, like you know, during the preseason, the results don't matter. It's all about fitness. But at the moment, it does matter because look how we're playing. Like, usually preseason you build from your preseason, but we haven't built from our preseason. It
I
still
actually
looks
thought
like
we started preseason better than we're playing now. Like the first 2 or 3 games, like, the Arsenal game, the Madrid game, I was okay with the Madrid game. I know we lost, but I actually thought we played well. And then, like, we just regressed.
But were we good or did Arsenal just be poor?
No, I actually thought Madrid, especially, I thought we played good. And then I guess because Mainer's injured and all that kind of stuff, we kind of like he actually played so well for us, and which is, you don't want to put pressure on the kid, but he actually played really well for us in the games that he played.
But who started up top in that Real Madrid match?
Sancho, because Sancho was he was the false 9 almost every preseason game.
Yeah, so who? And then it came to the first round of the Premier League. Who was our number 9?
We didn't do it. Oh my god! Do you know how angry I got? Because it kind of makes a bit more sense because I understand now that Ten Hag's angry at Sancho. But I was so annoyed at the time that we didn't we did an entire preseason with the false 9, and then the first 2 games we didn't play with one. I was so annoyed.
That was big talk on it, Dean, between me and you. Fuck.
But that's what preseason is. You're building a formation to go into those early games, and we all know what happened last season.
I'm seething thinking about it because it got me so angry at the time, honestly.
Anyway, look, we've got 6 minutes of this pod, and I think it's been a freaking very good pod. You're making us look good, I tell you, Yoni.
Hey, it's bloody hot up here. It's 32 degrees.
32 degrees. He's put the goalkeeper.
This has been the first, not too hot of a day for us. It's been 35, 36 the last 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
It's been terrible. It has. It's been massive here the last few days. But look, we look ahead to who are we playing? Burnley this weekend. Burnley away again, this weekend. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we might get Varane back, and
I think Mount will be back soon.
Yeah,
Mount should be back.
Mainer's coming back soon too. I don't know if he'll be this week though.
Marlow won't be back this week. No. But this is what I don't like. To me, Varane just doesn't even exist because he'll play 2 games and he'll be injured again. Like, I think Victor deserves to stay there, to be honest.
As long as it's not Maguire, I don't give a crap who's there. Like, as long as it's not Maguire, play whoever. Or Evans, actually, at this point, because he's a bit slow. But I just don't want the Muppet.
But to be fair, I'd play Scott McTominay there before Harry and Evans.
He's done it for Scotland, right? He's played back for Scotland and he played well. So. Yeah.
But I just think we criticise Scott McTominay and rightly so sometimes and all that. But me as a player, when I was playing, I want to be playing every day, every match. Not these bits and pieces. I think it must be so hard for a player, especially a professional player, to play say 5 minutes there, 10 minutes there. You know what I mean? Like I just don't see how they can get consistency in their game when they're getting bits and pieces. It was where Anthony has struggled for a season and a little bit, but he's still getting that chance. You know what I mean? Like it's just, to me, it's
look. The hard thing about these days, and Dino, well, you're not as old as me, but back in the day, you used to just get dropped. You used to get dropped to reserve grade, and you used to play yourself into form. Now it just doesn't happen. All you do is train. So it's really something I think either the Premier League needs to look at, or that they can include 2 or 3 players. I mean, I don't know the rule on that, but I think it's only 23s now, isn't it? And then it's Premier League. So.
But you got Tom Hiddleston who plays for our under 23s.
Who?
Does he really?
Yeah, he's like 35, 36. We did last year.
All I remember him from, he had a rocket shot when he played for Hull. I'm pretty sure he had a goal that was super.
So that's what I mean. They need to bring him up through the grades just to get minutes in their legs. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a tough one anyway.
But I just think he's obviously not going to drop Onana for the Burnley match. But hopefully when the League Cup comes around, he will throw that Turkish kid because I want to see it. I haven't seen it.
I'm actually annoyed we sold Kova and we got this Turkish kid for 2 million less when Kova was so good last season on loan. It makes no sense.
And preseason he was.
Yeah. It just made no sense.
What about if we bring De Gea back as a keeper coach? Bring De Gea back as a keeper coach.
But I think he's about to get a job, actually.
But the problem is, we didn't get rid of De Gea. Like, the Glaziers got rid of De Gea.
The Glazers got rid of him.
He had a contract signed, sealed, delivered, and they would not push it through, all because of
or because he doesn't say hello.
And that's what I'm saying, though. So what Onana cost us 60 mil.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
a lot of money.
Like he if De Gea stayed, which I think that like he would have stayed if like the manager wanted him to stay, we would have brought another defender. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like our whole transfer window went to shit because De Gea went on a free.
You can also say if Harry Maguire left, we could have brought another defender. Like that was
but Harry's staying there as that's his right. Like we signed a stupid deal. That's his right to say that. De Gea, we had a contract in that form, except the owners declined it all because of that enormous.
Yeah, and he was going to take a pay cut too, so it would have
And he would because he loved the club. He was the player over the last 10 years that would always come out and show how much he loved the club. Yes, he made errors. As I said, every player makes errors. It's obviously a goalkeeper's a lot worse, but he actually cared about the club. And you wonder with players like Bruno and Dello and all that, and obviously when Ronaldo left, we all thought, Dello might leave because of that connection. Maybe Bruno and that have the shits a little bit, if you know what I mean, with the whole De Gea situation. We don't know. And, to me, Bruno this year is off with the fairies, like you see him playing right back, centre back. He's our number 10, and I wanted to see him stay as a number 10. Yes, he comes back and works hard, but I'd rather see that energy go towards attacking instead of defending. Like you got 2 number 6s pretty much. I want to see him stay up top.
That's the problem because Bruno can do I'm not saying he can do so many things. He wants to do so much, and that kind of takes away from his actual game in a way. It'll be another pod. I have a concern that I think the reason we're not performing over at the moment is actually a Bruno situation, but that can be another pod. I love him, I do, but
Adam knows I never wanted him as captain, so because he just carried on too much. But I just think any number 10 in the world doesn't defend as much as what Bruno does.
Yeah.
In any team,
right.
and you saw his shot today. I think I can't even remember what minute it was, but it just went.
I hate the left-footed shot,
and it's just
I got so angry at that left-footed shot.
You know what I mean? Just cross it in or do something. We haven't scored outside the box in a donkey's years. We're not going to start now.
No. All right, boys. Look, let's just finish it up on that because I know there's literally probably 10 seconds to go. So, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having all you boys on. And I think it's upwards. What's that saying? Onwards and upwards. I'll talk to you later.
It's up the wires.
Yeah.
Up the wires, mate.
All right, boys. I'll talk to you.